at us. Oh yeah, look at us. Look at us. Hey, just a couple of goofballs. Look at us. Hey, look at us.
What's up, all ya doodles and doodlers out there, you schemers and dreamers, and welcome back to another episode of Doodle Talk. This is it, baby. This is episode 52. This is the one I've been kind of looking forward to for a while, actually, just because it's going to be some fun stuff to talk about, and just it's a hallmark in the legacy of this podcast that I've done. And yeah, so come on in, grab a seat, get comfy, grab yourself a cola, grab yourself a pop, some coffee and an espresso. Go ahead, sit down, get comfortable, because we're just going to be taking a little trip through memory lane today, so I hope you're ready for that. Just at the start here, to go over just art stuff like I normally do, I would say I think the only thing that's the most recent thing is the why you don't need a Wacom pen display video over there on my YouTubes. And thanks to everyone who's watched it. And I really wasn't sure when I first uploaded it, because it was getting kind of like not mixed reviews, but like it wasn't getting that much traction. And I was a little surprised, because normally those types of videos kind of pop off and are the only ones that actually get a lot of views on my channel. And luckily, after like 2 or 3 days, all of a sudden it just hit that, like, once. It's funny, because it's like once your video hits about 150 to 200 views, I feel like YouTube actually starts like pushing it into the recommendations, like the recommended for you and some of the home feeds and stuff. And all of a sudden it just popped off and started getting like another 50, 100 views per day. But the awesome thing is, like, I will say, like, while that's not my like absolute favorite thing to make, is like content about like, you know, pen displays or pen tablets or drawing equipment. They are fun, but it's just not, you know, it's not like my most favorite thing. I do really like, I guess I've been fortunate enough. I like people commenting on it, is what I'm trying to say. And I guess I've been fortunate enough to not really have, no one's been trolling or anything, or like no one's been like, you know, mean or like super hateful for anything that I've said, which is great. I don't want to create like some like meaningless discourse kind of thing. I try really hard to preface everything I say by saying like, hey, I'm not a, you know, professional animator in a studio, and these are just my opinions. Like, please don't fucking, you know, assume too much. Like, take everything I say with a grain of salt. So I try to be very cautious and like address those things right up front. But yeah, it's so cool to like have, because if you look at the comments in the why you don't need a Wacom video, and honestly the XP pen versus the iPad video as well, most of them were just like people who were either like, thanks, I was like wondering which one I should get, or like chiming in with their own thoughts about like one or the other products, or like what their experience has been. And that was happening a lot with this one too, where there was a lot of people being like, yeah, you know what, like I've had a Wacom, but I actually had the XYZ, these problems, and it's not as good as people say. Or like, yes, the quality is amazing, and it's like, it really is kind of like the premium, but for most people, it just like, you know, like me, like the person commenting, like it's just, you know, better for me to get a Huion or a XP pen, or I've been hearing people have commented a lot about like a Samsung tablets and stuff, so apparently those are pretty good too. But it's just really awesome, because, and I reply to all those comments, and it's just cool seeing stuff like that, because it's like, especially the ones that are like, thanks for making this video, I wasn't sure about something, and now like you've helped inform my decision. That's the best, man. Like, that's right up there with like being able to just like inspire or motivate somebody to like go make something, is being able to help them out with something and hopefully save them money too. That was my huge thing with that video. I just wanted it to be like, look, man, yes, at the upper tiers of things, they're like, obviously Wacom probably still has the higher specs on most of like the higher tier things, but like the price difference is just so crazy now, and like the actual difference even in some of those higher specs and stuff is so small that like, please believe me when I tell you, like, you really can get an awesome affordable tablet and display that's not just Wacom. So that's been cool, and that video's up there, so please check that out. I'm still working on a ton of stuff behind the scenes, and I'm working on the Procreate Dreams video too. I finished the background, which is pretty cool. Turned out better than I thought it was gonna be. I wanted to draw the background in Procreate to keep it all within Procreate and Dreams, but it was a little bit of a challenge because Procreate's not really my preferred drawing software, you know, let alone animating software. But to kind of like stay true to the theme of the video, I wanted to also draw the background in Procreate and then import it into Dreams and then animate on top of that to get a proper view of like the pros and cons, or like my experience from doing that, and so that it's not just like it's not a cop out obviously if I had drawn the background in a different software, but I wanted it to be like a full immersive experience, and so I can really have a better insight. That's what I'm trying to say, like so I could have better insight into everything. But yeah, that's it for that. Please go check it out. Anyone watching these or watching all those YouTube videos or anything, thank you so much. I've been getting a few more like subscribers and stuff constantly going up, or consistently going up, and for YouTube as well, which is really awesome. It makes me it takes the pressure off of like Instagram and some of the short form content, or not. I don't even really do that much stuff like that anymore, but it takes the pressure off of feeling like you need to post a bunch on Instagram. And it's nice kind of being like, okay, YouTube is like kind of the hub that I can now sort of like direct people towards, especially as I'm going to be making some of these like little short animations and stuff like that. Yeah. All right, so on to the main topic of today. I wanted to get into it as quick as I could, even though I went on multiple tangents already. It's episode 52, baby. Let's go. Yeah, man, it's crazy. This is I forgot to I went back and I watched the first episode. If you can tell, you probably don't know, but like this is what I was wearing on the first episode, this fucking like Kirby sweatshirt and this beanie. I think I was wearing a white t-shirt, but you know, I tell me if you do this, but it's like I was like, oh, I should wear a white t-shirt, and I was like, no, it's like when Luke Skywalker comes back in Return of the Jedi or whatever, and he's wearing all black to symbolize like the death of an old character and like the rebirth. I was like, I should wear black. I get so into that stuff sometimes, like I'm thinking like a fucking character in a movie or something. But yeah, sorry if I spoiled that little detail for you. That is what the black means, in case you were curious. But no, I just thought it was funny, and it's like kind of a full circle thing. Again, I'm not stopping Doodle Talk forever. This is just, I'm taking a little break, and it's just no longer going to be a weekly podcast. But I did want to sit down and look back over the past year and see like, oh wow, like what did I learn? That's why I watched the first episode. Like, what could I have done differently? What would I change if I could? What would I not change? What do I think like was good about it? Like all the yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff, right? And man, I totally forgot what the point I was making right before, because I went back and watched the first episode, right? And I didn't remember to like go back and see why it was like off. I even freaking forgot to like look up the exact day that I posted the first one, but it doesn't matter. It's been about a year. It's been 52 episodes. I did count and make sure, like, did I miss one or two? No, there are 52, well 51, and this will be 52. There are 52 weeks worth of weekly videos of this podcast, Doodle Talk. That's all that really matters at the end of the day, and it's been about a year. And I just want to start off by roasting myself here on the first episode, like, dude. And that's why I like, this is also kind of a meme why I'm wearing this outfit, because I mean, it's not that bad, but like the first couple minutes, like, let me just give you a recreation, because if you're listening or watching, you probably haven't seen the first episode, but you might have, but you haven't seen it in a while, I'm guessing. So let me just give you a recreation of like this is episode 1. Hey guys, this is Sam. I'm gonna start a podcast. It's called Doodle Talk, and I don't know. I think I'm just gonna like talk about art stuff and whatever you want to do. And like that's what like the first like minute or two was, and like, here's the thing: is I remember seeing that and being like, oh, I need to retake that, or like redo that, or redo the whole thing. But I do remember telling myself like, look, man, the first couple episodes don't really matter. Like just get the practice and get used to it. But I am a little like, man, that sucks, because like I know I have better like even at that point when I had just started doing the podcast, like I know I have better like on camera presence. Like I've performed in front of people, you know, like I've been on stage, like done various things throughout my whole life with like music, or like being a teacher, or like performing music, even like singing and stuff. Like I don't know, I don't really get super afraid of anything like that, like stage fright or camera shy or anything. But it is true, like if you don't have the kind of like, if you're not used to it and you don't have the experience of like, especially just talking to yourself like this into a camera, I don't know, it was just really funny. I was a little disappointed. I was like, man, I should have been able to go a little bit, you know, more charismatic out of the gate. I get it. I didn't know what it was gonna be, so I mean, it was just funny. Like I don't want to get into the weeds on that, but it was really funny because I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, am I at a fucking like AA meeting here? It literally sounded as like, hi, I'm Sam, I like the color red. I mean, the one nice thing though is like you look back at some of that stuff and you're like, oh my god, I am so much better now, just objectively in every way of like talking to myself here, doing podcasts like this. The one I will say about 10, by like 5-10 minutes in, I was, you know, warming up, and I think that's why I kept it, is because the last like 5-10 minutes are like, I mean, whatever, like the stuff I was talking about was all right. Like, when do you consider yourself professional was kind of the main topic, and it was a good topic, and I think I had some valid points. So I think everything I was saying was pretty good. It was just a little lackluster and like super low energy, especially at the start. I don't know, I like to be silly, so I'm surprised I didn't just like be more silly out of the gate, you know. I'm gonna get my silly goose card revoked after this one, if somebody sees that. But yeah, I don't know, it was just funny, but it really like I literally kept thinking like, man, it sounds and looks like I'm at an AA meeting. I did listen. I had to like go wash some dishes or do something too, so I was listening to part of it, not watching the whole thing. And it is a little bit better just audio, I will say. It kind of sounds just like a slightly lackluster voiceover, like on top of a video or something. So that was nice. But I think when you see like me like in the video, like just kind of like chilling, slouched, I didn't have any of this background stuff yet either, and like it was just funny. I'm giving myself shit here, but it's like that I knew exactly what I was doing when I was like going into it, and like I wanted to get. This is the camera on my iMac. It's supposed to be 1080p. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Yeah, I would like to eventually get like a nicer camera, but this setup is so nice, and like the camera quality doesn't really need to be like super amazing. But I didn't have like any of the lighting. Like lighting is so important. I feel like you do need, people always say like, you can make any camera look good with the right lighting. It's like, nah, no you can't, dude. You're not shooting like 480p, 720p and like making it look amazing, right? You probably need at least something over HD, maybe like QHD or something, probably. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so like you have the lighting. Lighting does help, right? But yeah, having like a 4K camera would be nice, you know, or something at least HD. And this is kind of HD, but I think a lot of it is like the software processing as well, which it does a good job. But all I'm trying to say is like, you know, it's not that crazy of a setup now, but it's even more bare bones back then. The one thing that I did like, that I kind of wished I had been able to continue, is like having the time lapse play, and like, because me talking is actually just a little square like down here, and then the most of the screen is a time lapse of me doing my one of the backgrounds I did for the Ramen Boys over at the Ramen Bowl, and that was cool. I don't know. I think I asked I don't know if I ever asked people enough, but I don't know what people actually prefer in that situation, because as it did become like more of just me talking about stuff, I do like that I take up more of the screen. But Yeah, I don't know, because some podcasts do that. There's a few art podcasts that I like that just do like people talking over time lapse drawing the whole time, which is cool. And I understand that it's an art podcast. That's kind of a cool way, especially if it's like relevant to kind of the thing that they're talking about or the style that most of their audience or listeners like gravitate towards. So if it's like manga or something like manga anime style, and you have like you're doing some characters. I just don't have the I didn't have enough of the time-lapse footage, but that's one thing I'm still a little unsure of as far as like things that I would change or keep. I don't know it would actually be nice to get feedback on that, but I don't know, I'd have to ask some people. But I like it like this too, where it's just me talking. But yeah, so that was really funny. I couldn't like not just sit here and make fun of myself, because it was just go watch it. Even if you go watch like the first like 10-30 seconds, go watch the first like minute of the very first Doodle Talk. There is, I always forget to like repeat myself on this, but there's a playlist. It's called Doodle Talk Archives. It's a playlist on my YouTube for the podcast. It's like, I think because they added a new tab where you can do like podcasts, just podcasts, but it is also a playlist. So I think if you just go to the playlists on my channel or click podcasts, I believe you can find it, but they're all there. So if you want to go through I'm probably going to take a couple weeks break before I think about doing another one. So if you want to, watch or listen to all those, catch up while I'm taking a break, that's the perfect way to do it. But just go watch the first minute and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, go watch the first minute and then come back and watch the first, a couple minutes of this, or just come look at this and you'd be like, damn, that's crazy. And I think that's a really good testament of just like this podcast is the testament of just like, this is all of the things that I've talked about this past year. Don't wait, just start. Shizuka ni gamba, keep persevering and keep trying, working towards your goals and your dreams, and the aligned with like the don't wait, just start, like keep trying things, and like you'll just keep getting better. Like you'll find your own voice, your own style and things, even in your art, or talking to a camera on screen, or like finding out the aesthetics of what you like. It all comes from trial and error, but you can never get to that point if you don't just start, and you don't just start making something without worrying. Is if you get stuck worrying like, oh, I'm gonna be super cringe, or like the first episode's not gonna be good, like you're never gonna start, and then you're never gonna keep going, right? And I've talked about this a ton over the past year on this podcast, but I really think this is kind of like a testament of all those things, and like a good example of like, look how far I've been able to come in just a year, just in overall general quality, or just like the content that I've been able to produce through like me talking like this, or all I'm trying to say is like, I think this is a good example of why you should always just like start something if you want to do it, and just keep at it, and you'll get better over time. And like, don't worry, don't sweat the small stuff, right? That's another thing that I like to say a lot. Yeah, and that I want to touch on that too towards the end. A few of like kind of like not like parting message. I don't want. It's so funny. I kept thinking about like what I should talk about today, and every time I thought about it too much, I was like, it just sounds like we're like breaking up. Look, babe, it's not you. It's not you. It's me. I'm not getting enough views. So I gotta stop. I can't do a weekly anymore. It's just too much time. I need more time to work on me, I just need some more me time. Or like our parents are getting divorced, and it's like, I'll see you once a month. Like, I won't see you every week anymore. So I'm not trying to get like morbid or sad here, but yeah, I don't want this to sound like like all doomsday, or like, oh, it's over. Like, I'll never do one of these again, so this is my last parting words. But I am taking a break, and it's not going to be going back to. This could eventually become a weekly podcast again, but I don't know. I really don't know. But we'll see. But I am going to treat it a little bit, because it is like kind of, like I said, it's the end of a chapter, and I am going to be spending more time doing other stuff. So I do want to kind of, I almost just said something in Japanese. I want to compartmentalize everything and like try and condense it, and like give you guys enough of like as much of a message of like what I've learned and what I can actually, from my experience doing this, right? But first, I want to just talk about, I guess that was it. Like the future of this podcast, right? Let's like talk about it in a real sense. Okay, so I know I'm a little bit all over the place here, so forgive me for that. But I do have some like bullet points. I think from here on we can try and keep it pretty linear. But so the future of this podcast. I love Doodle Talk. I love doing this podcast. It's really, really fun. And honestly, I was going to stop a little while ago, probably like a month or two ago, I think, when I started working a little bit more on these other YouTube, like general YouTube videos. And especially just seeing like I really don't want it to seem like I'm only stopping just because I'm not getting a lot of views on these, but like that is a factor. At the end of the day, like it has to be a factor. Because I think I touched on this before too. It's like this podcast is not like the thing that I like. If this was a decision between like me stopping making art and drawing and animating and doing something else, then I would. And like even if the animating and stuff was only getting like 12 views a video or something, I would just keep doing that, you know. But this is a podcast. This is kind of like extracurricular activities, you know. This is outside the scope of like my like true like passion, the thing that I'm like super focused and dedicated on. So it does fall into the category of like it needs to be scrutinized, and numbers do play a part in things. So you know, when you do a podcast for a year, you make 52 episodes, and I'll just say out the front, like, yes, I could have tried a few different kind of like marketing strategies or like, you know, ways to get it out there. But for the first couple months, man, I really tried. I tried a ton of different things. I've tried, you know, different kinds of thumbnails. I've tried different kinds of naming. I've tried different things to optimize SEO. I've tried boosting things on Instagram and spreading them out there. And at the end of the day, I'm not making like the most super viral clips or anything from this podcast, so it is one of those things. And like unfortunately, a lot of my stuff that I make is centered around like a very slow burn kind of like if you're a fan of mine, or like, you know, you enjoy my work or anything I make, it's probably not like it's I don't know, slow burn is the best way that I like think of it, right? It's like, you know, you're probably not gonna see me on TikTok and be like, oh, what is that? Let me go check it out, because it's like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I've tried a bunch of different things. It didn't really work out that great. And again, this isn't boohoo me either. Like I'm saying is like I could have tried more things. I could have tried different things. But again, like instead of just like doubling, tripling down on my efforts to put this podcast out there or make it differently, I said podcast really weird right there. Instead of trying to do that, I was like, oh, well, I can't spend that much time on it or put that much effort or that much money. Like, you can run ads on Instagram. That shit costs money. So, what I'm trying to say is like, at the end of the day, I had to be like, oh, well, this other stuff is more important to me. So I can't just like dump all of my time, energy, and resources into just trying to make this podcast fly off, you know? And that was because also that was never the thing. Like that was never the reason why I wanted to make it. I was hoping it would get a little bit more traction and, you know, more people would listen, because I do think that there's not really a lot of podcasts out there doing what I'm doing. And especially someone like me who lives in Japan, can speak Japanese, and like, you know, has lived here for like almost 8 years now. It's crazy. But like, so yeah, I have a very unique point of view, and you know, like the full-time freelance kind of translating lettering work that I do, and then I'm also like doing art stuff on the side. Like I have a lot of point of views that I personally think are interesting, and you know, like I think it would be interesting enough for people. Like I always think too with some of my stuff is like if I had and it sounds shitty, but it's like if I had more of a fan base, or if I had more of like a if I was exposed to more people, then maybe it would have like taken off better, or maybe received better, or like more people would watch. But it's like, that's such a duh. Like obviously, yeah, everyone could say that, which is true, but it's right for a lot of people. I think that like you see some people and you're like, man, how does this person not have like 100 million subscribers? Like they're so cool. And the awesome thing though is like, 6 months later, a year later, you look and you're like, oh shit, they're at like 400,000, like that, they're up like so many followers and subscribers. And yes, those are vanity metrics or whatever, but like it's also really important for someone who wants that to be their full-time job. And I get so happy when I see that. So I was hoping that like, you just keep grinding with the podcast and stuff and things will take off. But I guess fortunately and unfortunately, I found the route of like making these other types of YouTube videos were just so much more conducive to like, being able to reach out to people, getting more views, getting more subscribers on YouTube. So I'm not above being like pragmatic and logistical about things. So I sat down with myself. I said, Sam, have a seat. I said, thank you. Do you have any water or tea? Yes, what would you like? I said, some Arizona sweet tea, please. And then I had a discussion about like, what should we do? I can just keep doing this podcast forever, which would be cool. If I wasn't working a full-time job on top of everything like this, I think that'd be really easy to dedicate like, like the amount of work this takes is probably like less than a full day, but spread out over the week, Like I said, from like recording to uploading, everything all told is about like 2 to 4 hours, just depending. And that may not seem like a lot, right? You're like, oh, well, you could do that in a whole afternoon. And it's like, yeah, I probably could, but I don't always have like that whole time, like that whole block free, or like, yeah, like I could block out all this time, but I don't always have all that time to block out. And it's easier for me to kind of like split it up throughout the week and just do it in chunks. But even then, it's like you're losing 2 to 4 hours of other time that you can work on other projects. And that for me was like kind of the main reason of just being like, okay, just, I think this is important too, because some people would probably just tell you like, nah, man, don't listen to anyone. Like, don't worry about if there's 0 views. Like, this is so hard because this applies to some things and not to others. But it's like for something like this, right, where it's like, not even the main thing that you're doing, it's kind of like a side thing that you're doing to just have as like an extra thing, or it's like a hobby, right? People will tell you like, who cares if you're only getting 12 views per video, like you need to just keep doing it. And it's like, well, this isn't actually like the main thing I want to do. And some people might just be like, nah, you need to just keep going. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to keep going. You can like stop doing things if it's not working out, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. Because it's just like the cold hard truth of everything is like, not everything you do is gonna work. It's not all gonna be a success. And God, this sounds so like annoyingly like dire. Like, I can't, guys, it's my apology video. Like, I can't keep doing the podcast. It's just too much work. I really don't want it to sound like that. It's been so annoying, but like it's helping me get this point across, which I think is an important point. Like, regardless of like, yeah, if something's not working, you need to be smart enough to like, or savvy enough to sit down and be like, okay, well, this isn't working. This isn't getting the numbers that I want or was hoping for. And even though I've tried different things and I've, maybe I haven't used all the tricks in the barrel. I don't know if that's a saying, but I haven't used all the tools in the tool shed, but I've tried a lot and it's not working, and this other thing is working better. So I'm gonna put more time onto that. And then this is the kicker, this is the main thing of why I really don't feel guilty about stopping this, is like I'm splitting that time, like the time I would have had to do Doodle Talks, in half, of like more on YouTube videos and then more on like literally just like the real passion projects for the things that I really want to make, where because I've tried doing it where it's just like you just do all 3 things, like the videos, the podcast, and the passion projects. And I really find that like, unless my schedule, like my work schedule and like personal life schedule just lines up perfectly, like unless that happens, you get burnt out. I get burnt out. I get really burnt out, or I just push it too hard, or I get sick, or you lose inspiration. And the one thing you really need for those passion projects is like the inspiration and motivation to keep going and be like, even if it's 20 minutes a day or like 20 minutes an hour on a Sunday before I go to bed, like I'm just gonna chip away at it. Like that is one of the hardest things to stay like dedicated and focused and motivated for. So to just give yourself more and more tasks, and like I can't stress enough how much like an extra 2 to 4 hours goes across a work week if you're like a full-time person working full-time. Like I mean, I'm assuming you understand that, right? Too, like if you're someone like me where it's like, yeah, man, if I had an extra like 2 hours that I could just like magically make out of my schedule, I could get a lot more done. And of course, it's never that easy. You're not gonna just get more stuff done. But the nice thing is too is like it's not like an extra 2 hours where you're like adding it on top of all your other work, which is what I was trying to do before. You're removing, oops, I've been hitting the mic so much recently. You're removing the 2 to 4 hours I'm doing on the podcast, and I'm inserting, 2 to 3 hours. So maybe that's an extra hour of like rest that I get during the week, but then 2 to 3 hours of me being able to work on personal projects. So if you can think about it in that way, and you're okay with like putting aside the other thing, then I suggest like don't like do that, and don't beat yourself up about it. Don't feel guilty. It's all good, man. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry too much. You'll be fine. And do the thing that you really want to do, because it's like I love doing these podcasts. It's so much fun. If you've ever thought about starting a podcast, you should start one. I'm going to talk about that at the end, but like I love doing this podcast, but I love doing the other stuff more. So like the benefits, like let's just get into this. This is like from my time doing this podcast, kind of like the benefits and the things that I really think kind of like helped me improve as a person or as an artist or just in general, right? So doing this every week, like first of all, that's one of the other main reasons I actually wanted to start doing this, is to create a consistent schedule. And the thing is too, I needed to test myself to see if I was able to do something so consistently upload every week to YouTube. At first the schedule was a little, I didn't know what day, what time to post. I still don't know like what time. It's really hard from Japan, and most of my audience is in America. It's really hard, but for the past like 20-30 episodes, most of the time, excluding a few here and there, it's been Thursday nights for me over in Japan, pretty late. So like early morning, Wednesday morning in America. And it just seemed to work with my like, my other work schedule and just other things just fit in just nicely, right? But so I started doing that, and I realized, hey, okay, I'm doing it. I'm posting every single week. I'm consistently doing this because I wanted to do 1 to 2 normal videos a week, which is crazy because if I was doing some of like the kind of more intensive videos, like some of my past like 2 or 3 that I've done, where like I could probably do 1 a week if that was the only thing I was doing. But like thinking I could do 2 at one point was crazy. So then it was like once a week, but then it was like, oh, I don't know what videos to make. So here's a great thing too, if you're in a spot like that where you're kind of conflicted and you don't even know if you're biting off more than you can chew because you don't even know what you want to make, pick something like a podcast that you can do in the meantime. Because that was my like thing of like, well, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, what I'm doing is I'm consistently uploading a video a week to YouTube. And even if it's only getting 10 to 12 views, like I'm sure I've gotten a few subscribers through my podcast. And like, there's I have quite a few friends who like listen, like shout outs to you guys. And I'm sure there's a few people who like regularly listen in on this who I don't even know. Shout out to you. But yeah, like the thing that was so nice is that it's like it teaches you how to consistently like upload and post your work, your art, your content, your videos, whatever it is, right? And so if you're someone like me where like you're an artist but you're also leaning heavily on like YouTube to be a potential kind of like way for you to get work or like to get money or like some kind of small side income, like consistency is key, right? And everybody says that, and I really do think it's pretty true. So like unless you're just huge, I mean there's always caveats to all that stuff, right? There's some people who are fucking millions of subscribers and they just post whenever they can or whenever they finish, and every time it gets like the same amount of views or more, and it's like that's awesome. I'm glad that exists because it's nice to see like, oh okay, you don't have to like do it the same way for every person. But especially when you're just starting out, and it depends on what you're making too, right? If you're making stuff that's about like something that's like always evolving, and there's like lots of news to report on, or like lots of things that you can talk about every week or every other week, like then that's perfect. You can keep posting for stuff like that. That's why it kind of got a little hard too with Doodle Talk, because like I've not said everything I want to say about like the art world and my struggles and like my journey through art, but I've touched on a lot of it. I'll tell you that. It's like one of the things I would have needed to change probably for Doodle Talk is kind of like the structure of like what I talk about, and it's something that I wanted to change or like try out different things for a while too. But just the pros of like uploading every week and learning if you're even able to post in a consistent schedule is huge. Because again, like if you've never done something like that, try it out. Even if you're just like privating the videos, you're not actually showing them to anyone, like giving yourself, there's no set deadline. I created this deadline for me. Thursday night I have to post Doodle Talks, and it's like, it's really weird at first, and like, yeah, you can fuck off and not do it, but like, man, when you've done it for like 30 weeks in a row, like I never missed a single week in 50, well, I mean, I think I posted extra, so like I never missed a week of Doodle Talk. If anything, I just posted extra ones a few times, and that includes like when I was visiting back home in the States. I recorded like 3 ahead of time, uploaded. They all had to be edited. All the thumbnails, everything was like uploaded into YouTube before I even left, because I knew I was not gonna have any time. Like I barely had time to fucking click publish on my YouTube. So that is something I'm proud of. I did not miss a single week. I uploaded every single week and more, and yeah, like that taught me so much. So now it's like, when I step back and I'm like, oh, if I give myself a little bit extra time to make some of these other videos, like, yeah, I could do 2 a month easy of like high quality, like 10 to 15 minute YouTube videos, and like maybe even more, right? Maybe 3 a month or something like that, right? Like that's what's so awesome. It's like in Dragon Ball when Goku and Krillin have to like carry the milk. This is like the start of Dragon Ball. Like they're carrying the milk crates with the turtle shells on their, like they're doing weight training. And then they finally take the turtle shells off, and they can like jump really high, or like Rock Lee with his weights that the guy always had him wearing with the Gaara fight. Oh, so good. That was still one of the best fights and like cool scenes of all of like shonen anime and manga. But yeah, let's not get too distracted there. But that's what it feels like, right? It feels like you're wearing these training weights, and you take them off after you've posted 50 weeks in a row, and you're like, oh, I can do anything, bro. Like, come at me, I can do it. Like, let me get at that YouTube algorithm. Like, I'll make some videos. So that's really awesome. Some of the other pros, I mean, just being on camera, if that's something that you are thinking about, like a lot of these pros are kind of like reasons why I convinced myself to go ahead and make this podcast, is because they were all things that were like subsequently going to help me just when making normal videos or producing other stuff or talking to a camera, right? So that's what I was gonna say. Like the next pro was just like being on camera and talking into the camera, and like I've said, like I play music and I've sung and I've made songs and stuff, so listening to my voice isn't weird, which is great, because I didn't have to get over that hurdle again. But yeah, like obviously, I mean, like my charisma, like on screen, like kind of talking, obviously wasn't the best. If you look at episode 1, I do think it improved quickly when once you kind of see it, you can kind of react and get better. I mean, I'm still pretty like laid back. I don't think I have like the best like crazy energy, but I don't think I need crazy energy. You just need to be like captivating enough, or like not boring, or like listenable to. Asami always says I have a nice voice, so I like talking and like it's soothing or whatever. So I'll take that compliment. I have no comment. I mean, I'm glad I don't have like a crazy annoying voice or whatever. I don't have oh my god, I don't like to talk like this with the vocal fry. Yeah, but so I did this so I could get better at that kind of stuff, because now if I want to record an intro for a YouTube video like the You Don't Need a Wacom Pen Display one, it's really easy. I just sit down like this and I say, do you have $2,500 to spend on a Wacom pen display? No? Good, because neither do I, right? And like, it's not weird. It's not as awkward as it would have been or was. And like, you know, it's like I can't understate this enough. Where it's like, things look silly or stupid until you try them yourself, and you're like, holy fuck, that's so fucking goddamn hard. Holy shit. You're like, oh my gosh, that's really hard. Like, if you've ever, I've never really actually tried acting or anything, but I assume it's really hard. And this goes for anything, sports. If people talk shit, I mean, look at like soccer, football in the UK over there, and it's like I said, some of the worst fan groups of all time are, you know, football and soccer fans, and they'll literally like curse someone to death and say they could do it better, and it's like, no, you couldn't. Shut the fuck up. That applies to so many different things, where it's like, it's almost like you're taking things for granted, and then you're like that guy's stupid. He's like a host on TV or something. You're like, I mean, obviously you can have whatever opinion you want. I don't care about that. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes people like try and objectively criticize something, and they're kind of missing the point on how difficult it is even to try that or do that in the first place, which I always think, like, why don't you try it? Why don't you give it a shot? Why don't you try it? See how much better you could do it, and you will try it and realize that you're terrible, or it's super awkward or cringy, and be like, oh, I have a newfound respect for that thing. So, I mean, like, being humbled by that stuff is so awesome. So it is a very humbling experience to, like, dude, and just being an artist, being a musician, being whatever, and like putting yourself out there on the internet. I like I've said, like, I am now, I mean, they normally range between, like, these podcasts are like 20 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours even. So like over 52 episodes, I've put out probably like 30 hours at least, right? I think that's pretty safe. Maybe even more, honestly, because a lot of them, the past like 20-30 episodes have been like 45 to like an hour plus. So yeah, 35 to 40 hours easy of just me sitting here talking in front of a screen, sometimes talking to friends and stuff, which is nice. But yeah, like, it's super humbling and it's amazing. It's a cool experience. And I think that's really helped me, just, you know, with charisma or like being on screen, how you think about things, finding your literal voice, because it's funny, because I know how to like sing to stuff and like get in the zone and like kind of like be okay with listening to my singing voice and stuff too. But before this, I had never really done anything where I talk at for long lengths of time. And you do have to find, like, I mean, this is pretty much how I talk normally, but I'd say sometimes a little more jazzed up, or like, you know, a little bit different from my normal speaking voice, and that's good. You wouldn't want to like the first minute of my first episode, like, you wouldn't want to listen to somebody who's literally just talking like their normal talking voice, and on top of that, like, it's not something that interesting or exciting for them either. Because I mean, think about like some small talk that you don't want to do at an airport or something. Like, if you were listening to somebody with that tone of voice for the whole podcast, even if they were talking about something that they thought was interesting, but it was just like happened to be through that filter of that like small talk filter, you probably wouldn't enjoy it. You should think about it, like, the way you should maybe try and present yourself is like, if you were enthusiastically talking to one of your friends about something that they're also enthusiastic about. That's kind of like the way I try and put myself in the mindset of like, yeah, I'm enthusiastic about this stuff. I'm, you know, maybe it'll be a little over the top, or I might say something stupid or kind of like be embarrassing, but at the end of the day, like, a little bit extra I think is always better than like a little bit lacking, right? So that's another pro, is just like getting better at that. And then I'm not really sure if there's anything else that is like a huge thing. I mean, definitely this taught me how to like kind of like do research and like come up with stuff on the fly, and like kind of like just like, you know, ad-libbing and talking to yourself, even if I don't have a script or anything, right? But I do try and like think about what I'm going to talk about, or do research about a certain topic before I talk about it. So I've learned some kind of like almost like journalistic kind of like some stuff. I've learned some like tools for that, so that's cool. But I would say, just in general, the main pros from doing this podcast and what I've really taken away from it is like the pushing yourself to be on that consistent schedule and really just like get used to being comfortable in your own skin, in your own voice. I think that's the main things. Some of the things that I would change, and I don't want to go on too long here, but I think some of the things that I would change is I think it would have been cool if I had been able to talk to some actual other artists and stuff. Like I've had a few of my friends, I think if you were gonna watch Doodle Talk and you haven't seen any, I'd probably say start at episode 10 with my friend Eric, Yami Noob, on there. That was really cool, and start from there probably. And like I've talked to like my friend Ryan DeFreeze. He's been on here a few times, like 2 maybe to 3, and then Jace came on. Jace did the only in-person Doodle Talk so far, so that was really cool. And but I sorry, I'm getting off track here. Like I really would have liked having some other artists doing more stuff that I'm doing, like specifically it's like some animators or illustrators. And I think that's one of the things that I don't really regret, but like I kind of wish I had done is like reached out to some people, even if they were a little bit bigger, or like if I felt like I couldn't get them on the podcast or whatever, and just tried, because you never know. And I think most of the time people are probably more, especially a lot of artists are pretty nice people, so I think they might be a little more willing than you'd expect. So that is something I am considering. If I do put out some every now and then, just try and make like maybe every now and then it's a solo one like this, but then maybe actually trying to get a few more artists and people who have more experience than me, and kind of like picking their brains. Because that was the nice thing about talking to Eric, is because Eric's, he's got a really successful YouTube channel doing like, mostly just like motorcycle stuff. But like he still had a lot of expertise and knowledge in starting out on YouTube, and like how he grew, and like just good general advice, and just fun to listen to his story. And like we go way back, so that was just really fun catching up with him. And so that was like, an example of like someone on the more, maybe we don't have the same stuff that we're making obviously, but he's on the YouTube side. It was really nice talking to him. Me and Jace was nice too, because we're kind of like the same kind of like just small kind of independent artists and stuff like that. But yeah, like I was saying, it'd just be nice to maybe get some other people on, try out different formats. Like I said, like maybe I always wanted to try and like I honestly kind of just forgot about it, but I was gonna have more like sections. Like I started out, right, the first like 10 or 15 episodes I did like the shout out of the week, and I loved that. It's just some of those things were just extra work, and a lot of what this came down to is like, in order for me to continue posting and uploading this podcast every week, I had to streamline a lot of it. Otherwise, it just wasn't going to be feasible at all. And that's like what I was saying, where I was saying that I was actually thinking about stopping this maybe like 10 or 15 episodes ago, because I had already kind of come to the realization that at this rate, and like for what it's providing me as far as just like, on YouTube and as an artist, like is not seeming worth it. To even continue from that point, I had to like just, streamline everything and make it as simple and easy as possible to edit and upload and record, and from start to finish, like get it out the door, right? So that is why I did have to like make some concessions of like not adding anything really new, or also like not really having time or energy to reach out to other artists and stuff. But if it was just like once a month, or just literally whenever, like every now and then is when that's when the podcast would come out, then I do think it would be possible to try some of those more like, I don't want to say extravagant, not really extravagant, but like the more work intensive, or putting more effort into whatever XYZ. But I don't know, besides that, I don't really know. I don't think I would change too much. I think it's also just like, what did I learn, right? What have I learned from doing this? And I think I kind of already went over that with the pros as well. I think one thing, like, yeah, I mean, just like I think I've already talked about that. So for the sake of like not repeating myself, I think I've learned a lot, right? And basically everything I said about the pros is mostly what I learned. And then like for the, like the actual future of this, I've already talked about that as well. These are like the notes that I have, right? So I'm just kind of trying to make sure I go over everything. I think the future is just gonna be, like I said, like it's either gonna, I'm taking a few weeks break, then probably gonna be like, maybe I do want to make another one. I was talking to Ryan, my friend Ryan, the other day. I was like, we should probably do a have you on whenever it comes back, and we can just have like a chill talking one. Because the one thing that I do want Doodle Talk to continue to be is like mostly, obviously like art, kind of in general art themed, but also just like whatever I want it to be. That's why it ended up being low pressure, because I was like stressing out about it so much, like thumbnails and naming, blah blah blah. And then I was like, you know what, this is just fun. This is something for me. And the people who are like properly going to watch and enjoy this, if they find it, they find it. And like I don't think I can win over too many people from like TikTok if I like started like a lot of like short form videos and like try to promote it and stuff, which I don't know, that could just be the old man in me talking and not being smart, or not trying hard enough on things. But like I said, you have to make concessions, and that was one of the things I was like, well, okay, if I'm gonna be able to continue this at all, it's got to be like pared down. And I mean, fuck, I was still making like highlight clip videos every single week and doing stuff like that, so it's not like I wasn't trying, right? But yeah, it just didn't pop off like I wasn't really expecting it to. I'm not even gonna say that. But yeah, so it'll be every now and then, or maybe after a couple weeks, I'm like, hey, I'll just do a chill one like this once a month, and that way I'll have more things I can actually talk about. Since it's not weekly, I'll be able to properly think about things. Art news, like when a new, like Procreate Dreams or something comes out, like I'll be able to properly address everything. And like I'll have more actual sustenance to talk about, instead of me just rambling on about random shit and like hoping I hit something along the way, which happens a lot. If you can't tell, like it's so funny because the podcast is like me talking about something, and then I finally figure out like what I'm actually trying to say about like 56 minutes in, which is about where we are now. And then I'm like, oh, that's what I meant. And so I repeat myself for like the third time, saying the important message of the podcast, and like that's the one that actually like sounds good later when I'm editing it. But it is what it is, man. It's really hard doing a solo podcast. And speaking of which, the last two things I want to talk about, one of them is a message for anyone who wants to start their own podcast or do something similar, like start your own YouTube channel or whatever. Like, please just go and start it. I know people say like, oh, everyone and their mom has a podcast, man. Like, what are you gonna do? Talk to yourself and like, who cares, dude? Just go fucking make it. If you want to make it. You know how you're gonna find out if it's a good thing or a bad thing that you made it is you'll see a year later. It's never gonna be a bad thing though, because it's like, dude, even if these podcasts had done better for me personally, I think I would have I think like, even if they'd done a marginally better, I think I'd still be stopping and to go do other stuff, like, or at least like pumping the brakes a little bit. I don't even know if that would have changed, to be honest. But yeah, like, and even if it's just like a YouTube channel or something, just go make those first like 4 or 5 videos, because now this is basically a year too as well. It's not just the podcast, it's about a year since I've taken YouTube seriously. And this is advice like Eric gave and a lot of people give, and now I think I'm able to give it, is like, you're not going to know exactly what you want to make, and you won't know what you want to make until you start making stuff and you just see what does well, right? Because I saw, the XP Pen iPad video did well, so I'll do 3 or 4 more videos like that, and but also some other stuff in between. And it's like, you don't have to like only do one type of thing if that's the thing that's like successful. You can still try out different things, but it doesn't hurt to see what's successful and like iterate on it and do stuff like that, right? just go start making those first 5, 6, 7 videos, and then you're going to learn so much from that, and you're going to learn so much afterwards, and that's going to show you like what you never are going to know what you want to make before you make it. That's the thing with literally anything. So that's a huge piece of advice that I could probably give. And then yeah, follow your dreams, baby. That's my last note, is follow your dreams, baby. If there's one thing that I've learned from making this podcast and starting this YouTube channel over the past year, is like, follow your dreams, baby. Just go for it. Like, let that shit rip. Let that shit rip like a Beyblade, and just, you know, put all your money on black and just hope it lands. Because it's like, obviously be realistic about things too, but like, man, just don't give up on your dreams. Like, keep trying, keep going, man. Even if you have to stop one thing to start another, or put more time and energy into another, like, that's okay. You can give up on certain things and continue working towards other things. It doesn't mean you've like given up all hope, and you shouldn't feel guilty about any of that, right? You should always just try your best to just like give it your all, and like follow your dreams, baby. That's I can't say it enough. Like, yes, I am not going to be doing podcasts like this weekly for a while, but man, I've had so much fun. And if you've listened to any of them at all, like, thank you so much. Like, I really, really, really appreciate it. And if you're someone who is interested about, like, you know, start drawing or start animating or start a YouTube channel or starting a podcast, just go fucking do it. Like, go right now. Go. Stop listening to me. Just go. Yeah, you got it, dude. You got it. Whatever you're doing, you got it. Even if it's not art related. You got a fucking meeting tomorrow, you got it. You got to make lunch, you got it, bro. You got to go on a run, get up, go on that run. You got it, bro. You got it, bro. Follow your dreams, baby. That's it. That's all I want to say. I want to end it right there. That's all I can say about it. That's what I've learned, and that's what I want to tell you. That's what I want to tell me. That's what I tell myself every morning when I wake up. So again, thank you so much for listening to these 52 episodes of Doodle Talk. There will be more. It's not ending. It's just not going to be weekly for a while. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.